This is bonus, also because it's 69. Godzilla fact number 69. The Italian version, Cozilla, Cozzilla,
Cozilla,
is in color. Because the original was not in color. But there are no official copies of the Italian version left. So you cannot watch it anymore.
left, like, in existence?
In circulation.
Oh, okay.
So there might be one, like, privately owned, or but there's none. There's no copies of it showing.
Okay. That's a fact.
That is a fact, but that was bonus fact. Let's see if there's another one.
This is just a bonus because it was 69.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Nice. This one is interesting. So this Godzilla fact is Godzilla fact number 75. And it is in, it's talking about the sequel. So this is the second one that came out in 1955. And it was released, I guess this is a two-parter. This is 75 and 77. And this movie was released only 6 months after the first one. And in it, they decided to change the suit to not only slim it down, but they put batteries in its eyes so that Godzilla's eyes could just move without having to do cables or anything else. But apparently it was so heavy, that they couldn't actually wear it, and they were never used. So the actor couldn't, it was so top heavy you couldn't really stand up.
Because of the lights?
So, in the batteries in the eyes. Because we're also talking about 1955 batteries.
Yeah, okay.
They're huge and heavy.
Okay, weird.
Yeah. Those are your many Godzilla facts. I hope you learned something today. Godzilla roar. Here. Hey there, suits, psychos, weird cocaine stall users, and business card carriers.
Welcome to another episode of What Happens in the Crypt.
Today is a special episode where we're not only talking about the 2000 film American Psycho, but when this episode comes out, our podcast is 1.
Yeah, it's our 1-year anniversary.
Yep. We didn't know that ahead of time.
Feels weird.
Feels very weird.
Also weird to watch the Bo Burnham special at the same time that we are doing this.
Highly recommend. Has nothing to do with horror, but it is a very good dark comedy. Very dark.
It's very heavy.
It's very heavy. But
yeah, it's also about Bo Burnham and his 1-year anniversary of his obsessive quarantine project, and we're in the same boat.
Same thing. That's how this started, was we're trying to
not lose our minds.
And not lose our minds.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's been a year, but also it feels like it's been 10.
Yeah.
You know?
Just like all of 2020 does.
Yeah. But we're going to keep bringing you more horror in 2021. Hopefully get some more listens, get some more movies. Hopefully we can do a 2021 movie, you know?
Yeah.
That would be cool. Hopefully we're going to a theater next week.
We've got goals.
We got goals. We're going to see a movie in theaters, which we haven't done in over a year.
A year and a half.
And oh my god, we have to. The last movie we've seen in theaters was Sonic the Hedgehog.
I can't wait.
Can't end there.
I can't die like this.
I can't die like this. The last movie I see in theaters has to be like, Sonic was, we laughed.
Yeah, it had its funny moments.
But that can't be it.
Yeah.
I can't have that, be known. Like on my tombstone, people will just put it to make fun of me. The last movie I saw was fucking Sonic.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can see either Spiral or The Conjuring.
Quiet Place 2. They're all not going to be amazing, but it's for the experience. I want the popcorn. I want a Slurpee.
I know. That's all I want. Maybe they'll have that cheddar popcorn that I like to get.
It's going to be like a $60 movie day.
I know. But it's worth it. It's been so long. We haven't gone inside a restaurant. We haven't gone to a concert. We haven't gone anywhere. Into a bar.
I think that's why it being a year of this feels even weirder, because remember last year we were like, oh, you're going to have a quarantine birthday, but I won't. And now here we are coming up on
and I've had 2 quarantine birthdays.
Yep, and my birthday once again is semi-quarantined.
Yeah, but we can actually...
We're vaccinated this time. But
double. Both of us are double vaxxed.
But
hopefully... on your birthday. That's the plan for your birthday next week. This week? That's technically...
It's in like 5 days, yeah.
So, hopefully we'll be at a theater.
And
I feel like we have to do a mini-sode about it.
Yeah, whatever it is. We'll douse the seats with hand sanitizer, but we'll be there.
The plan is we're not going during like peak hours. The plan is to go at like noon or 1 or like a midday matinee. That's what it's called? Yeah. A matinee. And we literally took work off.
Just to go to the movie.
To go to a movie. But it's going to be so worth it. And we're going to see a horror movie.
I'm ready for the stomach ache from the popcorn.
Oh, yeah. Eat way too much, way too quick.
Yep.
Without even thinking about it. For some reason, my goal is to just eat all of the popcorn before the movie starts. And it happens every time.
Yeah. And I also, fingers crossed, hope that we're semi-alone. Or there's only a couple other people.
We literally took work off.
I know, but people don't have regular work schedules still.
Well, now people are getting forced to go back.
Right. So we might be hitting that sweet spot where we could have a theater alone.
I think we can do it. I think we're going to do it.
Oh, so excited.
But yeah, we'll do a mini-sode about it because, it'll be a horror movie and...
Just our return to movie theaters.
Just to talk about going to a movie theater. It's going to be so weird.
But anyways, thanks for listening for a year.
Yeah, thanks for listening for a year. But if you're first-time listener, we got a whole year.
Yeah.
You can go back.
We get better as it goes on, I think.
Yeah, we get better as it goes on. What was the first episode we did with our new format? That was like Amityville?
I think so.
Or something? You know what I would like to do, because I've been thinking about it for a little while, is redoing Subspecies. Because that was like the first quarantine madness.
Right.
Because I know we did that with a different mic. We didn't really know what we were hoping to do.
Yeah.
But I would also love to watch those again. But yeah, now let's get on to American Psycho. I already said the intro.
All right.
You heard it.
I live in the American Gardens building on West 81st Street, on the 11th floor. My name is Patrick Bateman. I'm 27 years old. I believe in taking care of myself, in a balanced diet and a rigorous exercise routine. In the morning, if my face is a little puffy, I'll put on an ice pack while doing my stomach crunches. I can do 1,000 now. After I remove the ice pack, I use a deep pore cleanser lotion. In the shower, I use a water-activated gel cleanser. Then a honey almond body scrub. And on the face, an exfoliating gel scrub. Then I apply an herb mint facial mask, which I leave on for 10 minutes while I prepare the rest of my routine. I always use an aftershave lotion with little or no alcohol, because alcohol dries your face out and makes you look older. Then moisturizer. Then an anti-aging eye balm, followed by a final moisturizer.
Trigger warnings for this one. There's a lot. This movie is really heavy. I definitely think that if you have not seen this, to go to Unconsenting Media and also Does the Dog Die to get the specifics. But the heavy ones are animal death, gore, there's graphic extreme sexual situations, and also, according to Unconsenting Media, they say off-screen sexual assault and rape is implied. But that's not shown.
Is it?
That's based on like where the girl leaves and she said she might need surgery. So that's what that's referring to. But anyways, this is definitely one you want to check the safe sites beforehand. But it is weirdly a very funny movie and it's good, but it's heavy. A brief synopsis. Set in the 1980s, the film focuses on the actions of Patrick Bateman, the self-proclaimed American Psycho of the title. While at first glance, Bateman is a yuppie New York City investment banker, he is gradually revealed to be living a gruesome second life as a serial killer, preying on prostitutes, work colleagues, and finally random members of the public.
And this movie is based on the book of the same name, written by Bret Easton Ellis.
And neither of us have read the book.
No.
But it's supposed to be really good, but the only thing that I have heard is that it's super graphic in like a tortury way that the movie did not do. So
well, originally it was like the original script for the movie. They were told if they made it with all the torture, it would have been NC-17,
right?
Which is they call the nail in the. They say NC stands for nail in the coffin.
Yeah, that's true though,
because it can't be shown in public.
Mm-hmm.
Which you can't spend. What was the budget on this movie? Like
$7 million.
You can't spend $7 million for an NC-17 movie,
right?
Oh, those are the taglines?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, weird. Okay. The weird taglines for this movie include no introduction necessary.
I think my mask is about to slip.
And killer looks, killer inside. That one is fucking dumb. I think my mask is about to slip is good. I like that one. Because it's definitely, as the movie goes on, he's more and more psychotic. But no introduction necessary. What does that mean?
I wonder if that's from the book in some capacity, because there are a lot of nods, like the final scene where like this is not an exit is the last line of the book, and that's in the background. So that's what I thought. I didn't look into it though.
Yeah, weird. Because if you don't know anything about the movie, you're like, wait, no, an introduction is very necessary. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah. But I guess when this came out in 2001.
Yeah.
I don't know how popular the book was at the time. And there's a lot of famous people in the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he didn't need an introduction. There's a lot of really famous actors in this movie besides Christian Bale, and we'll get into Christian Bale in a minute. But
there's a lot of stuff about Christian Bale. He's a fucking psycho.
He's a weirdo.
He's an act, but he's not American. I always forget that.
He's British psycho.
British psycho.
Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of other famous people in this, including Justin Theroux, who I love from The Leftovers.
He's so hot.
He is super hot. Reese Witherspoon plays...
He's one of those people that's definitely, like, gotten hotter as he's gotten
older. Yes.
Because he's not very hot, I wouldn't say, in this movie.
In the trailer for that new Rosemary's Baby, though, he is super hot.
But even in, like, The Leftovers, you know, season 1, I was like, okay, like, he's
ripped.
Good. He's ripped,
yeah.
But then, like... how many seasons of that show
3.
are there? In season 3, I'm like, damn, with that beard,
yeah,
facial hair, looking good.
Oof, yeah. Reese Witherspoon also plays Patrick Bateman's fiance in this, and it was hilarious when we watched this. I forgot about Chloe Sevigny, who's pretty famous now,
but
for American Horror Story,
like a baby.
Stuff. I think she looks like she's like 18 at the time.
I know, she's so young.
She's very young, but she plays the assistant. Yeah, Matt Ross, who's also in this from Rose Red, which I think we'll do something about that eventually. That's a Stephen King mini series, but it's
maybe
very
like
good.
An extended episode, just because it's so long. What is it? It's like 6 hours, right?
Yeah, it's a mini series.
Yeah.
It's like 7 episodes, but the DVDs are just broken down into 2. Also, Guinevere Turner, who is the one who wrote the screenplay for the movie, plays Elizabeth, who's the red-haired woman, the second time when Patrick Bateman brings Christy back to his apartment.
Yeah, she's the one that has, like, Scully vibes.
Yes. That's Guinevere Turner.
And then, of course, Willem Dafoe. Mm-hmm. Although he's not as exciting in this movie as...
He's great in this,
He's great,
too.
but, like, he's not, like, a main...
And cult leader Jared Leto.
And, yes, go back and listen to our episode where we talk about him being a cult leader now.
So there's a lot of names in this. That's a lot of people.
As with many movies, finding the lead was a struggle? I guess it was kind of a struggle.
It was kind of like just back and forth.
It's like a shit show.
Yeah.
Almost. Because originally it was supposed to be
Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah.
Imagine if he was...
Right. I mean, that also... that would have been very weird.
Yeah.
But also good for his agent, whoever, that told him not to do it because he was like this like hot teen heartthrob type deal at the time. Because can you imagine being like, I have a crush on Leonardo DiCaprio at 15 and then he's in this movie? Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been strange. But then it was, there's a whole back and forth where because they weren't even talking to him directly. They were like talking to his agent.
Right.
And at first they were like, well, we can't pay that much. And then because they were like, he was asking something like 21 million or something to be in it.
Right.
Which was 3 times the budget of the entire movie.
Yeah.
And then his agent said, don't do this, it'll ruin your career. And then so he was like, no, I never even was close to being in this.
Right.
And then they asked,
and I think at this point, Christian Bale had been like talked to about the project, and then they said, sorry, we're going with DiCaprio, but he still refused to take any other jobs for like a year because he wanted the part so badly. So he was already like a part of it at this point when they had picked Leonardo DiCaprio.
But then was it
Ewan McGregor?
Ewan McGregor next.
Yeah.
Which would have made more sense. Cause
I think he would have been good in this, actually.
Yeah, because when did Trainspotting come out? That was before this, wasn't it?
I've never seen that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that came out in 1996. Trainspotting, he plays like this... He's not crazy, but he is a heroin addict. Mm-hmm. And that's what the movie's about. And it's heavy. Yeah. So this would have been a little later. He would have been great. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember what happened with that, but it didn't work out.
With Ewan McGregor?
Yeah.
Well, they offered it to him, and Christian Bale literally begged him not to take the part. Because he said he wanted it so bad.
Yeah, Christian Bale was literally writing people, calling them, asking them not to take it because he wanted it so bad.
Right. I think, is this like the first Christian Bale like crazy like body change movie?
Right. Before this, he was in A Midsummer Night's Dream, but that wasn't anything crazy, and that was, I think, his first like big.
Yeah, because I know after this, he like got offered Batman and stuff.
That was way later. After this, he did Reign of Fire.
I don't know what that is.
The one where.
This is an episode where you're just naming movies that I've never seen, apparently.
Reign of Fire is the one where there's like an apocalypse, but the apocalypse is dragons. They like are mining and find a cavern of dragons that kill humanity.
Sounds really stupid.
It's actually pretty great.
I've never heard of that.
But the big one was The Machinist, I think.
Yeah, that's where he
that
gets...
was 4 years later.
That's where he gets really small.
Yeah. We won't do an episode on that, so we'll just talk about it right now a little bit. He ate only an apple a day to lose the weight for that.
In American Psycho, he's extremely fit.
Yes, and he does the routine that he talks about. He did 1,000 crunches.
He did the skincare routine. He wanted to be Patrick Bateman more than fucking anything.
Was.
Yeah. But apparently Bale spent several months working out by himself and then 3 hours a day with a trainer during pre-production to obtain the physique.
Bale was so committed to the role that he even spoke with an American accent offset. He would not speak in his normal UK British accent.
Right.
Until the last day of filming. And the crew had no idea that he has an accent.
I even, like we've talked about, I always forget he's British.
Me too. I'm always like, oh yeah, American. And then you hear him talk and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's very weird.
Originally, Christian Bale was actually having a hard time figuring out the character of Patrick Bateman. And he accidentally stumbled onto a Tom Cruise appearance on The Late Night Show with David Letterman. And he actually took that as like the inspiration for...
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is a Scientologist nightmare human.
Well, yeah, so apparently while watching this, Bale saw this in Cruise, and this is a quote from Christian Bale. He said this about Tom Cruise, that this very intense friendliness with nothing behind his eyes.
That's how Tom Cruise is.
That's what he said about Tom Cruise.
No, that's a very good description. He's creepy.
Yeah. And it's funny because Tom Cruise is actually in the book, but they wouldn't allow it for the movie because legal reasons.
Yeah.
But apparently in the book, Tom Cruise lives in the same building as Bateman. Right. And there's a scene where like they meet in an elevator or something and have like a very brief, like 1 sentence interaction, which has made it all the more interesting. That he's
So maybe even the author knew that Tom Cruise was like on the line of the same personality.
I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out middle tooth Tom Cruise killed somebody.
I was gonna ask you if you knew about the middle tooth.
Of course I know about the middle tooth.
It's so weird. How does that happen?
I don't know. Got a lot of Christian Bale facts in this episode.
Well, I mean, that's what the movie's about, really.
Yeah.
This, as in contrary to other episodes, doesn't have a ton of special effects, so it's really about the actors this time around.
Yeah.
Speaking of, like, Leonardo DiCaprio being warned about taking this part and then ultimately declining it, Christian Bale was kind of in the same boat, but apparently he was inspired by The Vampire's Kiss with Nicolas Cage. As far as, that's a movie I've never seen, but I guess it's a similar kind of, like, weird movie, like, that projected his career and got Nicolas Cage started. And after this, Christian Bale was offered roles in Batman and Terminator, and he's now definitely like an A-list actor. So it didn't happen for him. Didn't ruin his career.
Christian Bale was so into the character that he would often improvise scenes, and 2 examples of that were when Bateman is jumping rope. He's not just doing it normally. He's like doing like tricks almost.
Like crisscross. Isn't it called double dutch or something?
I thought double dutch is when there's 2 people with a big one.
Oh, dang. Okay, I just knew that was a jump rope term at least.
But yeah, so that was fully improv, and also the dancing when he kills
the moonwalk.
Paul Allen. Yeah, the moonwalk with the axe. That was full improv, and he said that he felt like Bateman would have done that because he's so cocky.
Yeah, that is probably my favorite part.
Oh, I know.
Of the movie.
It's one of the best scenes in the movie, and it was fully improv.
Yeah. He's just yelling about that record.
Oh, yeah. Because that's the
Huey Lewis in the news, yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Director Mary Harron said that she was fighting laughter the entire time that he was doing the little dance.
Yeah.
And she almost ruined the shot.
Because that's like what I mean. Like, this movie is really dark and it's disturbing, but there's weird little things in it that are really comical.
Because it's not disturbing to him. That's what I always thought. Like, this is like a normal
and
occurrence.
That someone that,
and
like,
he was pumped.
Right, and someone that loved to kill people would not just be like stoically doing it. They'd be getting excited, and
especially to kill Paul Allen because he hates Jared Leto's character.
Yeah. Dorsia.
What? Oh, the restaurant?
He always says the Dorsia reservation.
Oh my god. They do such a good job of, like, making fun of the rich in this movie.
Yeah, and, like, the other scene that's like that is when he's, like, moving the body, Paul Allen's body, into the cab, and that dude walks by and he's like, I love that overnight bag.
Yeah.
He, like, just spits out a designer name and gets in the cab, and it's like, there's a body in there.
This must have been a strange night, but director Mary Harron and Christian Bale actually watched porn together to shoot the sex scene.
Yeah.
Because they wanted it to feel real.
Right.
And Christian Bale made his own drawings and gave suggestions about how it should look.
That scene also cracks me up when he's, like, looking in the mirror and, like, flexing his muscles and stuff during the whole, like, 3-way parts.
He looks at himself more than anything else. And on another level of weirdness, you know the scene where Christian Bale is chasing Christy.
I hate that her name's Christy.
He's chasing her down the hallway with the chainsaw. He would just hang out on set wearing nothing but the tennis shoes and a sock on his dick.
Yeah, he's a fucking weirdo.
Yep.
Like, if you're comfortable, cool, but what about the whole crew that doesn't want to look at your butt and your balls the whole time that we're filming this, you know?
Well, he had the sock.
That part also is, I hate that part specifically because I hate when he bites her leg. That freaks me the fuck out.
That's the scariest part. I love it. I hate that. I love it.
It makes me, like, literally, like, cringe. It's so scary.
That to me is like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
Oh my god, that part.
And then the chainsaw, he's like following her and aiming it and then drops it. I love that part. It's one of my favorite parts.
That whole scene, but that bite just comes out. It's like you feel like you kind of, like, in some ways understand what he's doing, and then as soon as he just bites her with no logic. It's like, oh my god.
And speaking of Christian Bale naked, apparently for the shower scene, most of the female crew was in attendance.
Yeah, I mean, if I knew Christian Bale was going to be fully nude, I'd want to see if I was on a set. Yeah,
I would also like to see.
He's fucking ripped.
One of the most iconic scenes in this movie is definitely Bateman's call to his lawyer, where he's literally dripping in sweat, panicking, confessing.
Yeah, that's after, like, the killing spree, essentially. Yeah. And he walks into the wrong building. That's with the poor little cat. Like, there's a lot that
when
goes
it says
on.
Feed me the cat.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that shot.
Oh, the poor cat.
No,
then he's just going to shoot a little kitten.
Then he just shoots a woman.
Yeah. Let the kitten live.
But apparently the confession scene took 14 takes, and in between takes, director Mary Herron would give him cappuccinos so that he is like frantic with energy, like shaking, which, I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. He's definitely like manic.
He's probably fucked up the next day.
Yeah.
Howard, it's Bateman, Patrick Bateman. You're my lawyer, so I think you should know I've killed a lot of people. Some escort girls in an apartment uptown. Some homeless people, maybe 5 or 10. An NYU girl I met in Central Park. I left her in a parking lot behind some donut shop. I killed Bethany, my old girlfriend, with a nail gun. And some old faggot with a dog. Last week, I killed another girl with a chainsaw. I had to. She almost got away. And someone else there, I can't remember, maybe a model, but she's dead too. And Paul Allen. I killed Paul Allen with an axe in the face. His body is dissolving in a bathtub in Hell's Kitchen. I don't want to leave anything out here. I guess I've killed maybe 20 people, maybe 40.
For Willem Dafoe's scenes to add further to, like, is Patrick Bateman crazy or is this really happening? All of the shots where Willem Dafoe interviews Bateman, they had filmed them multiple times. One time where Willem Dafoe thought he did it, one where he thought he was innocent, and one where he didn't know. And then when they edited the movie, they placed like different versions within each conversation. So it'll be like a look of like knowing that he's guilty, and then a second time he's smiling and looking relaxed, just to kind of show how unsure the whole situation was.
Yeah, after I read about this, when we watched it, I was like purposefully trying to figure out which was which. Mm-hmm. They did a great job. That was a good idea. Because
Willem Dafoe is so, like, his face is
so expressive
that, like, you can tell just like by like the way his eyebrows look which shot it is. Like, that's the guilty one.
Yeah. So he emotes with his entire face. Mm-hmm. But apparently, almost every piece of dialogue is word for word from the book, which is pretty cool. Yeah. They did have to change a couple names. Mm-hmm. I read that, and I'm not 100% sure why. But yeah, they had to. Mm-hmm. And Bateman is from Psycho,
right?
Which is pretty. Once you hear it, you're like, oh, that's pretty obvious because it's Norman Bateman,
right?
There is one like special effect. It's not even a special, quote unquote special effect.
Yeah, that made me laugh when I read it.
But the head that's in the fridge is literally just the actress's head. They just cut a hole in the
Yeah, she just stood in the fridge.
Just was in the fridge. Not a special effect, but a sound effect. They really wanted to hammer the importance of the business cards. And the in that scene, the sound of them pulling out their business cards is actually a sped up unsheathing of a sword.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Because there's so much weight in those cards.
That I feel like that's the moment where he's like, I'm gonna kill Paul Allen.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that's it. Mm-hmm. And that scene is so funny because they're like, they all have the same business card.
Literally exactly the same.
But they're like, oh, boom. He's like, in his head, I just love that scene. Mm-hmm. He's like, why didn't I think of this?
Right.
Is that a gram? New card. What do you think?
Whoa. Very nice. Look at that.
Picked them up from the printers yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's bone. And the lettering is something called Cillian Braille.
It's very cool, Bateman, but that's nothing. Look at this. That is really nice. Eggshell with Romalian type. What do you think?
Nice.
Jesus. That is really super. How'd a nitwit like you get so tasteful?
I can't believe that Bryce prefers Van Patten's card to mine.
But wait. You ain't seen nothing yet. Raised lettering. Pale nimbus. White.
The most expensive thing in this movie was getting the rights to all of the music. Because there's a lot of...
very popular songs. The Phil Collins. He mentions... who else is in this?
He talks about Whitney Houston.
But she wouldn't let...
She said no.
She said you can't use any of my music in this. It's so funny.
Speaking of serial killers, Bateman also mistakenly quotes an Ed Kemper line and said it was Ed Gein, which the quote was, quote, "You know what Ed Gein said about women. When I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think two things. One part of me wants to take her out, talk to her, be real nice and sweet and treat her right. And the other part wonders what her head would look like on a stick," end quote. Which is terrifying, but like obviously, you know, I'm infatuated with Ed Kemper because he told people all of this stuff once he got arrested.
And he didn't talk to real people.
Yeah.
He just had corpses in his home.
Right, but Kemper was like, yeah, I'm aware that I am a serial killer, I am a murderer, and I will tell you all of my thoughts and reasoning. And he would like say things like that to the police.
You know what Ed Gein said about women?
Ed Gein, Maitre d' Canal Bar?
No. Serial killer, Wisconsin in the 50s.
And what did Ed say?
He said, when I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think two things. One part of me wants to take her out and talk to her, be real nice and sweet and treat her right.
And what'd the other part of him think?
What her head would look like on a stick.
Also, random Ed Kemper fact. He also...
Well, that's going to be tough for me to find an Ed Kemper roar.
You can use something from Mindhunter.
Okay.
All right. Ed Kemper fact.
What number is it? This is Ed Kemper fact number 1.
The book in my head. I'm going to write a book of Ed Kemper facts.
Oh, you could.
That'll probably sell.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we copyrighted that. Don't steal it.
All right, let me spit out the fact, please. He used to record audio for like the first audiobooks for blind people. One of the first books he recorded was Flowers in the Attic.
That's pretty terrifying.
Which is fucked.
Yeah.
However, I've never been able to find it because he has a very like interesting like drawling voice, and I've looked for it before and I've never found it. But it was like in the 80s, you know, like it was like a prison program where they recorded audiobooks for the blind.
This movie had more than just song issues. There were issues with some brands. For example, the line where Bateman says, "Don't touch the watch" when he's in bed with the two women. The line was actually supposed to be, "Don't touch the Rolex."
Right.
But Rolex refused to be a part of the movie. So the line had to be changed. And there's just a lot of examples where they were like, "Oh, well, you can use Gucci suits," but then they saw some of the script and they were like, "Wait, never mind."
Right.
And they had to constantly, and like some brands said like other characters can wear the line, but Bateman himself can't. You can't show Bateman's brand.
Which seems so interesting because it feels like nowadays, like brands are desperate to be put into things regardless of the content if they think people are going to watch it.
Like 28 Days Later with the Pepsi?
With the Pepsi, and like the other one that comes to mind is like Invisible Man, all the Nike stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's wearing a Nike shirt, close-up of Nike shoes. And those are obviously not as, like, disturbing.
I think it's because, like, horror and gore is more mainstream even now than 20 years ago.
So it's crazy to think that these brands wouldn't want to be represented.
Apparently, the only part of the movie that author Bret Easton Ellis didn't like was Bateman's moonwalk. He said it was too explicit. That's
Yeah.
his quote,
Random.
which is like, do you know what you wrote?
Right.
He just didn't like that addition. He said he was too carefree in that moment. Mm-hmm. But it actually, yeah, as we said earlier, was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, I think it's fitting for the character, but like I guess when you wrote the character and
You're
someone,
like, he wouldn't do
yeah,
that.
exactly.
But shut up, it's like the best part.
Shut up, it's your book, but shut up, we like it.
Oh yeah, so yeah, the budget was $7 million, but it went on to make 34, which spawned an unfortunate sequel.
So there's a straight-to-DVD movie starring Mila Kunis that came out in 2002, and she said that it was never meant to be a sequel or she wouldn't have taken the job. And apparently, like, within it being edited, they decided, it was released by Lionsgate as well, that it was going to be American Psycho 2, and they added in, like, after she had wrapped her scenes, a second little storyline about Patrick Bateman dying in the beginning.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 0?
Yep.
That's hilarious. But it also, apparently, the author denounces it.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where the production company purchased the rights, so they could do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Especially because it's so bad. But we gotta watch it.
Yeah, eventually.
Definitely no episode.
I think it's funny, too, that even Mila Kunis is like, I wouldn't have done this if that's what it was going to be.
She's embarrassed by it. But I know she was younger. And
yeah.
Probably needed the money.
Because she was probably on, like, that 70s show still at this point in 2002.
Yeah.
So she was, like, actually, like, 18. There's also an American Psycho television series.
I did not know this, actually.
That's apparently in the works, but it was announced as early as 2013.
Nah, that means it's probably not happening.
So the quote that I saw said that it has probably been canceled or it's in development hell.
Oh, yeah. Development hell is a real thing.
Speaking of, like, random Christian Bale news, though, in March, Netflix purchased his upcoming horror thriller. Oh, wow, thriller. Jesus Christ. You can leave that in. I don't care. His horror thriller for a record fee at the virtual European film market. And the story is apparently set in 1830 with Bale as a veteran detective investigating a murder with his assistant, Edgar Allan Poe. Which will be a trip.
Wild.
I just thought it was so funny.
But alright, I'm down. There are approximately 15 on-screen deaths, but it's kind of all over the place. Because, you know, there's like the cop cars that blow up and like the bodies you see in the closet really quick.
Did he do it? Was it a psychotic break?
I am always on the side that he did it, because if he didn't do it, this movie sucks.
Well, like I said when we watched it, the point is that it doesn't matter if he did it or not. Because no one cares.
Yeah, that's the whole point, is that
the ending is the same, because if he called his lawyer and his lawyer called his dad and they took care of the bodies in the apartment, and that's why the woman was weird in the end, fine. Or she was weird because this strange guy showed up that didn't have an appointment, it doesn't really matter.
I love this movie.
I do too.
It's so weird.
It is very weird. But it does a really good job of it just being like, here are the two potential things. And it's like really ambiguous in the end, but when you think about it, it really doesn't matter.
I love all the parts that people call him the wrong name.
Yeah, even his lawyer doesn't know who he is at the end.
His lawyer calls him the wrong name.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that was so funny. You were pretending to be Bateman. He's such a loser.
Yeah.
And he's like, I am Bateman.
Yeah. For our next episode, we'll be talking about the 1968 horror classic Rosemary's Baby, which you can watch on Hulu. Hulu?
It's like with a Showtime add-on.
Bullshit. I hate
know.
that. It's also on Prime and YouTube to rent. But this is such a good movie.
But yeah, Hulu, like we mentioned in the beginning about Justin Theroux, is releasing a kind of like based off of Rosemary's Baby. It's not a remake, it's not a reboot necessarily, but it's like based on that idea that has what's her name from Broad City in it?
Alana?
Yeah, from Broad City and Justin Theroux.
Oh yes. That it looks so good.
It looks cool, and it comes out.
When does it actually come out?
I think you should maybe look.
Some places June 8th. Oh, okay. So it's airing. Like, I don't think you can watch it. Oh, and then June 25th it comes out on Hulu.
Okay.
So it's premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival, which you'll probably be able to watch, but like you'll have to pay more kind of thing.
But anyways, our episode will come out before it's out, so
Yeah, so we'll definitely do some kind of mini-sode or something about it. I'm pretty pumped for that.
Yeah, it looks good.
But I'll take any excuse to watch this again. It's been a little while. So good. It's so good. Very disturbing. Oh yeah, Roman Polanski. He wrote and directed it.
Yep.
This will be a fun one.
He's a really little guy, too.
Very strange guy.
Yeah, he's so small.
That's the first thing that comes. World-renowned writer-director Roman Polanski. What a little guy. He's a little guy.
So if you liked this episode, check us out on Instagram at What Happens in the Crypt. We're also on Twitter, which is
WHITC_official.
Yep. And if you have any suggestions, you can also email us at whathappensinthecrypt@gmail.com.
I'm going to double check that Twitter real quick to make sure I didn't say the wrong thing. It is WHITC_official. Go us.
Yep.